All right. Good evening and welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Solvang City Council for Monday, September 12th, 2022. Call the meeting to order now at 6:30. Madam Clerk, would you please take a roll?
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante,
Here.
Councilmember Arona,
Here.
Councilmember Thomas,
Here.
Mayor Urick.
Here. Councilman and Alrona, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes,
of
please
allegiance?
stand up.
Place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, and moving on, we have no presentations or proclamations at this time. However, Madam Clerk, would you please read the rules for the public communications?
The council welcomes your input. At this time, you may address the council on items not on the agenda and on consent. Time limit is 3 minutes. We will start with in-person public comments first.
All right, and I do have 2 speaker slips right now. The first would be Janice Matthews.
Janice Matthews, Solvang, and Mayor, Council. I would like at this time to take the opportunity to withdraw my candidacy for the City Council and District 3. And I want to express my gratitude to all those that have helped me in the process and for their support. And I would like to take the opportunity to express my endorsement of Dave Brown for the 3rd District of the City of Solvang City Council. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Yep. Now I know what you meant. All right, second one I had is Bob Bott.
Hello, my name is Bob Bott, and I live at 160 Willow Drive in Solvang. My wife and I are struggling to cut back once more on our water usage to comply with your new drought measures. Considering the dire situation Solvang finds itself in regarding our water supply, I question the wisdom or even the feasibility of approving any new development within the city. Wouldn't it be prudent to declare a moratorium on new development until we are out from under the drought restrictions? You could even go ahead and process building applications, but with the understanding that no new projects requiring additional water may gain final approval until water is readily available. This is not an unprecedented decision, as Goleta declared a development moratorium in 1972 during a prolonged drought at that time. Please consider such a member to help Solvang survive this trying time. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last I have Michael Baker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Michael Baker, CEO for United Boys and Girls Clubs. Just want to again continue to thank you for your support of the Boys and Girls Club. The program in Solvang is our fastest growing program now. We're really excited about that. We've been at the lower campus of the elementary school for the past few years. Actually, because of the wonderful partnership with the city, we were able to relocate during the peak of the pandemic at the community center. Thank you for making that happen. That worked out very well for us. And now we're actually seeing our numbers grow on a daily basis. We're working with the new superintendent to try to get more space on the campus because we have a waiting list, and our goal is to continue to grow the program. But I would encourage any one of you that wants to see the program in action to please come down to the Boys and Girls Club location at the Solvang Elementary School any day, Monday through Friday, from 3:30. Best time is between 4 and 6 to see the program in action. Love to give you a tour, show you. It's a great partnership. It's a win-win situation. When the school doors open, the Boys and Girls Club takes over the space, and runs activities for the families. And as many of you, I'm sure, are aware, many of the families that we deal with here in Solvang, they live in Solvang, but they don't work in Solvang. They may be working down in Santa Barbara or maybe up in Santa Maria. So they're a good 30, 40 minutes on the road each way to and from work. So if they're getting off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if you have a traditional job where they get off at 5, they're not getting home till 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we all know that the number one time when juvenile crime happens in the United States, and Solvang's not immune to this, is 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So we're very happy that's why the Boys and Girls Club is open when we are, and the parents can drop their children off at the school in the beginning of the morning for school day, and they don't need to pick them up till 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's a perfect partnership. So again, I want to encourage you to continue to support the Boys and Girls Clubs, but also come out on a tour. Okay, thank you.
Michael, what room are you guys at normally?
I don't know the room number, but it's right near the gymnasium. It's a portable. It's the last portable near the gymnasium.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the room number though. I'll get that for you. I'll email it.
That's all right.
You got it.
Portable is fine.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that is the last of the speaker slips that I have. Is there anyone else wishing to speak or on any items that are on the consent agenda or are not on our regular agenda? Seeing none, we'll bring it out to Zoom. Anyone in Zoom wishing to speak right now? See a few out there. And bringing it back, we'll move on from public comment and city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I would like to start by reminding everybody of the upcoming special events. The Danish Days will be coming here in just a couple of weeks, or in just about a week, next weekend. So start on this Friday and going through Sunday will be the 85th celebration of the Danish Days. You have later on your agenda the application for Hispanic Heritage Month celebration of October 7th. The annual Salute to Veterans was already approved for November 12th, and then we are also moving and starting to plan the Yule Fest program. So for the Yule Fest program, we have a subcommittee that was formed from the Tourism Advisory Committee, and they have been working alongside with some other business owners here in town, coming up with different ideas. So this year's program is really coming more from the community here locally, and hopefully will be exciting few items that will be added to this program. It will be coming to you for your final approval and review of the budget as well. But essentially what you see on the left here is that we have all of the usual adventures that we offer during Yule Fest. So you have Nisa Adventure Daily, Santa in the Park will be there on Saturday, and we're also proposing adding a Sunday so that families can stay here longer with their kids. There's a tree lighting ceremony, the Yule Fest parade, the candlelight tours, the nativity pageant, and some of the photo opportunities. And then the couple of interesting things that are being proposed this year is concept of a synchronized holiday lights and music show in the Solvang Park. So that's right now under development by the subcommittee. The Yule Fest night market in Solvang Park is proposed just to be a few vendors looking like a Solvang village, along with joining the night market carolers on Fridays and Saturdays, and also offering some evening carriages. So all of this is currently in the works and will be continued to be reviewed by the Tourism Advisory Committee and the City Council as well. The Tourism Advisory Committee is also moving forward with our new contractor, the ABI agency. So this is one of the brand new strategies that they have created using a lot of the materials that were already presented by Cogs and Marvel. So those videos will be used alongside with this new campaign, but it's basically focusing on like Denmark. But then there's different areas on which they would focus like Denmark, but closer, so it doesn't have, so you don't have to travel so much like Denmark, but only happier, Chardonnay, or sweeter. So all of those materials will begin to be pushed out in order to support, especially as we move into a little bit of a slower season after our summer. Just once again, a reminder about the general municipal election of 2022. You can go to our website and review the information on Measure U, as well as the districts and the candidates for the open seats. And then for the advanced calendar, next meeting will be September 26th. We are looking at AB 1600 report. That's a financial report for impact fees. The Tourism Advisory Committee appointment for Councilmember Rona's appointee that's currently vacant. We'll have a Slurry Seal Project contract award. The Yule Fest program will be coming to you. And then the Chamber of Commerce contract proposal subcommittee. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions of the staff report? That subcommittee for the chamber, what is that? Is that,
So this one is the Tourism Advisory Subcommittee. There was 2 members that were appointed by the TAC just to work with a group of local business owners. So we're calling it a Yule Fest Committee as an overall. Currently, our new marketing manager who has just onboarded, and I will introduce her to you along with the Yule Fest program, has been working with them. And then it's Tracy Beard and Kim Jensen are the 2 members that are appointed to that subcommittee.
okay. Just making sure it wasn't Jim and I.
Yeah,
No.
I'm curious about.
So yours.
That's a different one.
That's a different one. That's
Okay,
for the
good.
Chamber contract proposal.
Only reason I'm questioning is because I won't be able to be here on the 26th. I'm going to be offline, so,
I thought I just saw that that was a contract review. And if you're saying the TAC is doing a contract review?
No, so the council had formed a subcommittee of yourselves, which is Mayor Urick and Councilmember Thomas,
Yeah.
who have been working with the chamber to review their contract proposal. So that contract proposal will be reaching out to you with some recommendations and hopefully have some discussion at the next council meeting.
Thank you.
all right.
Mr. Mayor, you said you will not be here on the 26th?
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to make sure I'm not going to be,
Okay, we
Able to
can,
be here.
it would be okay to move it one more meeting to December.
okay.
Or
In
Yeah,
October.
I'd definitely like both of us to be there.
Thank you. I would like to be there, too.
And I want to put several items on the agenda for the 26th, please.
Let's keep Jim straight.
All right. With no questions, any council comments at this time?
Yes.
Go ahead.
With the rest of the council's approval, I'd like to add a couple of things to the agenda for the next meeting. You've heard already here, and if you've been listening to the Planning Commission, you've probably been getting emails, that maybe we should consider a construction moratorium until we get out of this drought. We're forcing everybody to take rather large cutbacks in water, and then we want to add in a hotel or apartments or whatever else. So I would like, and if the rest of the council agrees, I would like to put on the agenda for the next meeting the consideration of a construction moratorium. Yes? No?
I'd support that.
I don't support that, and I'll make comments about that. I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate it.
Okay?
But I'll make comments about that as well, because there's some of the things that dovetail on that. So I have no problem at all having a discussion about it. So if you want to put it on the agenda, that's fine. It'll create public interest. We'll get probably both sides of the issue to show up. So actually, I don't have a problem with it, but I have comments to make that about as well, because I've been doing some studying on it, and I'd like to add to it, so I can actually add it at that meeting. So I'll actually go along with it.
Either way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's mainly just to discuss.
I want to discuss. If
Yeah.
we can come up with some way to do this, then fine. If we can't, the discussion is at least letting the residents know where we are with this idea of a moratorium. So that's one. Second thing I'd like to address in the next meeting is the penalties for not meeting the cutbacks. I've been talking to a bunch of business owners that can't cut back 20%. How does a library cut back 20% of its water? How does a jewelry store cut back 20% of its water? How does a shoe store cut back 20%? What David Rasmussen told me is he could send his employees across the street to the public restroom. That'll save him 20%, but it doesn't save us any water at all because it just goes to the public restroom. So I would like to see that the penalties associated, the request for reductions and the penalties associated with those reductions be designed more specifically for types of businesses.
And usage.
Well, and usage, sure. I mean, if you got 2 units now, you got to cut back 20%. It's tough. If you're a museum, anything. So I would, again, I'll ask the council if that's acceptable to all of you, that we put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Yep.
Can I add one thing to that too? Is you look at a business like Jim's, if I can use them as an example, Jim's Service Station. 2 years ago, out of his own free will, he wanted to save water and did everything he possibly could with low flush this, all these different things that he did. We've all got anecdotes about this, and it's a whole can of worms that we're opening up here, and there are so many variables. And as I discussed in the last meeting, if people want to make appeals to their fines or whatever, well, we don't have enough time. Well, we're the ones that would implemented this. We need to be here for 3 days straight if people want to talk to us about it, because it came out of this building. So
And it needs to be refined.
I don't want to say start over.
No, I don't want to say start over either, but it needs to be refined.
Yes, I agree with you.
Council, I would just caution you about making any conclusions one way or another until the matter is actually on the agenda. It's not on there. It appears that council's interested in having a discussion of those, and we can certainly look at. Is there something specific that you would like staff to provide in that regard, or are you looking more for just an opportunity to discuss the current state of affairs?
Well, perhaps.
I'm suggesting we don't do it at a council meeting. I would much rather see something set up at the Vets Hall or something as far as having a meeting, but not a formal council meeting per se, because you're going to be expected to make decisions at that particular time. I think that discussion is going to be long and involved.
So a town
And
hall.
a lot of a town hall meeting, get the input, and then at some point, if there's information that needs to come to the council for a decision process, then that's the place for it.
I see. Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, this is all what we can discuss at that next meeting when it's on the agenda to say what our next steps are.
And well, what I would like to answer the attorney's question from the staff is, can we do this? Do we have enough people to set this up? Do we have the software in place to run it? What is it going to take to accomplish that? That's what I'd like to know. I know we have, okay, we need some information from staff.
Okay.
I think we have the technical ability to set it up. I would say that timing is something that you should consider, and perhaps it's not in 2 weeks. It may take staff a little bit longer to put this together and prepare for it. So, but we can definitely look at our calendars and schedule something maybe in the next.
It would have to be an evening or a weekend, so that the majority of the people who work would have the opportunity to attend.
And we have had history that attendance in the evenings has actually been better than on the weekends. So I would suggest that we can maybe schedule a time within the next a month and a half.
Well, if we're going to go out a month and a half before we make any decisions on this, we have to decide how, okay.
Well, I think the idea is we need to have, if we do what Councilmember Thomas said, we need to have a town hall meeting. So that would be the first thing we do to gather input.
Well, but,
Whatever is decided in that, then we can
Comes
come back
to
and
us. Okay.
make a decision.
okay, do you think that a town hall meeting is necessary if maybe we just need to look at the general usage and say if an account is below a certain usage, then
I think
The-
we can need to
I think we need to hear
It already is.
we need to hear what the people
Yeah,
have
the
to say.
council just basically probably should set the date or direct staff to doodle poll a date so that we can do this, so that we can have the discussion, because the more substantive conversation you have on it,
Gotcha.
that preempts whatever discussions you might have at that
I
meeting.
think it should be the same time when I get back, the first meeting in October. So that's like 4 weeks.
Okay. Or,
Not at this time, sir. Sorry. You can do it at that meeting, though.
Or email,
include residential, not just.
That's,
or email the city.
Let us know.
yeah,
Okay, so it's all about
The-
business,
the-
not residential.
No, it's about everything.
it's everything.
Okay, that's great, it's everything.
One last item, an idea, and don't even want to put this on an agenda yet. I want this to present to the council. Councilmember Clark and I were at the annual conference, and we started looking into taxes and things, and how do you inform the residents. And one of the things they suggested, I thought was a brilliant idea. Do a YouTube video and then post the link on our website. What if we did a YouTube video that explained how the water cutback was working and what the penalties are and what your choices are in response to that? And then as we did other things, the tax increase, anything else we could, and we, each different council member can do it. We could have the city manager do it, but a video that's described it. Because a lot of people are reading this, and I'm getting emails that say, I think this is wrong, and then somebody else reads a different part of it. I think a verbal description would be useful. That's my,
Anytime you're giving anybody more information is better, so I have no problem with that at all.
okay. I'd like to look into what that would take, please.
okay.
That's all I have for now.
That's enough. Any other comments at this time?
I have a lot. May I make, Mr. City Attorney, may I make a comment about the water in my city council comments?
Short answer is yes. I'm not going to say no to that
Thank
one.
you. I've been doing some research on this, and Santa Barbara's tried several moratoriums until they actually did a very, very, very in-depth water study a few years ago and found out really where all the water usage is. So I would like to bring that up at that meeting. That's the only point I'll make on that, because one of my points for council comments tonight was revisiting these drought measures and the moratoriums, et cetera. Hang on. I would like to bring this up for future discussion, and I've had a lot of comments about the Saturday events that we have in the city, and not just from my usual suspects who like to complain to me because they think that we're in tandem, but a lot of business owners, and then I started asking hotels, they would all prefer to have one-day events on Sunday versus Saturday, because when we have events on Saturday, people leave on Saturday night, and those hotels are not filled through the weekend. And the foot traffic on Sunday is terrible, and the foot traffic during those events. So I'd like to just bring that up for discussion. Maybe that we could possibly do the one-day events on Sunday, try it for a year and see. So that's just, I'm throwing this out to you all right now. And, hang on. This is kind of ancillary, but because the city invested in this, I have a say in it, because I don't care what people do with their money and their good deeds. But when I went to, this is anecdotal, I go to Valley Fresh last night to get lunch meat, and their deli is closed because they can't get staff. I want to beg everybody to stop giving stuff away and stop giving away a week's worth of groceries. And we invested in that, and it's not our job. Every hotel in this town needs employees. Every business in this town needs employees, and I can't get lunch meat at 4 o'clock on a Sunday because the local market is understaffed because they can't find employees. The more you give away, the more they'll take. And I think that with 2021, we've been open for a year, almost 2 years now, since the COVID lockdown, and it's time to stop giving stuff away and entice people to go back to work. So that's my comment on that. Are you going to talk about the conference at the end at council readout?
AB 1234?
AB 1234? Because I have a lot of comments about how that conference has changed in just my 4 years on council. You think it's better to bring it up then?
I would assume so, yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it up then. It's a lot different than it used to be, about services and making life better for residents, and now it's this big woke fest, is what my impression was of the meetings that we were going to. It was remarkable, and I'll read those off at the end in council comments. And also, for 2 nights in Long Beach, my hotel bill was 13% occupancy tax.
Yep.
A city tourism tax of 3% on top, and then a California tourism fee for accommodations. So for 2 nights, the taxpayers, spent $156 for me.
Fees.
And that's what a hotel, it used to be 2 nights in a hotel cost $156. And now that's the fees for 2 nights. So, one, it drives me nuts, but I want to do it too. Because we always talk about having the tourist shoulder the responsibility for the services in this town, because they're creating most of the demand. So, and I just, even that 3%, any additional would go to the voters, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I have 0 problem. So that's something I would like to see put on the future. If other cities are doing it and nobody's batting an eye, then I would like to do it as well, because that's where all of our revenue comes from, but it's also where most biggest demands on our services come from, is from our visitors. So I'd like to discuss that further. And lastly,
Councilmember Clark, just to let you know that if the city council were going to increase either the transient occupancy tax, it would have to go on an election.
Correct.
We're closed for the election for 2022.
no, I understand that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just wasn't sure on the timing, if you wanted to bring this back
Yeah.
soon.
In
This
8
is-
weeks, let's
This
get
is
it.
on the longer list then.
No,
Okay.
I understand that. We're talking 2024. And then Michael Mendiza brought to my attention, at the end of Alisal, that dead ends in, or end of Copenhagen, that dead ends into Alisal, is that very dark corridor to those little small businesses. And Michael has some really great ideas to lighten that corridor up, to tie it into the history of Solvang, to make it more of a display. I'd like for him to come and make a presentation to the city council about beautifying, if you will, and making that more of an attraction for the city. So that's down the road. Those are my comments today. Thank you. Oh, and one last thing. May I please give Janice Matthews my card, because I'd like to talk to her later in the week?
I've got one more also, Charlie.
You have one more?
Yeah.
All right.
Now or?
Wait till he gets back. All right, you sure you're done now?
All right. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, I'm done.
Don't laugh, I've got one.
Go ahead.
Just a quick note. I don't know how many people received a letter in the mail that says that you cannot post your votes at polling place anymore because of what we are, the size and everything else. I got a letter that says we are mail-in ballot only. So I think the city needs to be aware of this. I forgot to bring the letter with me. I apologize. We'll get it. I'll get it to the
He looks confused.
Did you?
It came to me as an individual from the state of California voter registration, I think it was.
But,
I will get it to you, absolutely.
because it's the
I meant to
county-
bring it and I forgot
It's
it.
county elections that run that section of it. Wouldn't be coming.
But
I
it came
wouldn't
to
think-
my house, to my name, and didn't say councilman. It just, said Mark.
The district elections were mail-in only?
Because we are districts and because they are so small, rather than having a polling place for every district, they're saying the whole city has to do mail-in ballots.
I would think they would have multiple
Can that
ballots at
be
your
a-
polling place by your address. They would hand you a ballot for your
Well,
district.
We can double check for the county elections. We did not receive such notice.
I'll get you the letter.
It was in crayon.
I'm the city CPO, the chief paranoia officer, and my paranoia just went up on
He's up a
that.
few degrees? Okay.
He has a doctorate in that. All right, so everybody finished? Just double checking. All right, start off with mine. Tomorrow at 4, from 4 to 7, there is a 30th anniversary for People Helping People. And it's kind of an open house. There was an RSVP that needed to go out to Erica Flores at peoplehelpingpeople.org or php.org, but just wanted to give the congratulations to them. 30 years of being there to help our community with a lot of different things that has been needed. This again, this week, we have the Danish Days. So I know that we are looking, I believe, for some parade monitor volunteers to help out. If you can do that, I know that Kim Jensen is in charge of the parade as far as the Danish part, trying to get volunteers. So if anyone can give Danish a call or check over at Ingeborg's, or give the city a call, let them know that you're available to help out with the parade. The parade is from 2:30, starts at 2:30, usually is over in about an hour. So approximately from 2 to 4 is about the time frame for this coming Saturday's parade. There will be a torchlight parade, which starts about 7:45 this Friday. If you haven't ever been to one, it's pretty cool. Get out there and support the Vikings and all of the Danish families that are coming down Alisal and started the ceremony for that. This Friday is also homecoming game and homecoming for the high school football team. So if you have a sports mind and you want to be a part of that, that's at 7 or 6:30. And the children's parade is on Sunday, just to break that out. So I believe that starts at 2 o'clock this coming Sunday. And it's always kind of cool to see little kids out there being a part of a parade. Also, did anybody get word? I haven't got word on when the next book sale was. I know that the library just canceled it this Saturday, but I didn't catch when the advance date was, so I'm not sure when that was. So if anybody was interested in purchasing some books or donating some books for the library here at Solvang, get in touch with Gary. Thank you. Also coming up, we have, being that I'm not going to be here this next time, Saturday, October 1st, is the Solvang School Arts and Music Foundation, SAM, their Boots and Bling, which is from 5 to 10 at the River Greer at the Alisal. And that's their largest fundraiser for Solvang School. And if you can be a part of that, donate, help, attend, they would appreciate that. Also coming up on Sunday, October 9th, from 3 to 5, there's some new exhibits that will be at the Wildling Museum. The Dunes, called Dunes, Visions of Sand, Light, and Shadow by Bob Canepa, and Wildlife on the Edge from Hillary Baker. And just to also keep putting it out there as a reminder, the Solvang veterans are putting on a Western Flare Ball, Cannonball, and that'll be October 22nd from 5 to 10 p.m. And tickets can be purchased from Al Salgi or Jim Banicus. And I think that's, forgot. Lastly, for any of you, for the Vikings Blood Drive, which will be coming up at the Vets Hall, not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, September 20 and 21st, from 2:30 to 6:30. If you want to be part of donating blood, they definitely could use that. And you would make appointments with Vitalant, VITALANT.org, and you have to schedule an appointment. So they would appreciate that as well, at trying to beat their record that they had last time, which I believe was 180 units. So, and with that, that's my comments. Moving on to next part of the agenda. We have the consent items. We won't read them through, but is there any council member that would like to pull any items from the consent agenda?
I would just like to pull item F, the approved budget amendment to fund the Santa Ynez Valley Transit.
Like to pull it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have a couple of questions.
Do you want to ask the questions?
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted clarification. So it's a budget amendment. Is it that it's carrying over to this year, or is it that it's in addition an additional 41,000 on top of what had already been approved? I just had a question of that.
This would be additional 41,000 on top of what was approved.
Okay, so why is it nearly doubling from the original quote?
No, so this is for transit management plan that needs to happen, but when the budget was put together, that amount was not included in the budget.
Okay.
So if we are going to move forward with this project, then the money needs to be allocated.
Okay, so this is for the original amount was for kind of the analysis of what we have in place, and this is for setting up a new plan in place.
So we have the contract with them for running.
Maybe Roger
can
help
for
us
running
out.
the transit, and this is an additional scope.
That was the 45,000.
Yes, Councilperson Arona. The this project is a study for that we do every 5 years. Basically, it's a roadmap for where we want to go in transit. It analyzes, it surveys the riders and the users of our transit. It analyzes what the industry trends are to provide service, and makes recommendations. It basically provides a roadmap for our next 5 years. It is recommended to do this every 5 years, and it was on our CIP last year. We did initiate this study at the very end of last fiscal year, and it was just an oversight on my part that we didn't carry it over to this fiscal year. So it is in addition to the service that Moore & Associates does for us, where they basically manage our transit operations. So this is in addition to that, and is part of their contract. And that's part of the reason why it was missed, is it wasn't a separate contract.
Okay.
So normally that's where we kind of, it triggers a PO, and then we kind of go on. If we had done that, then we probably would have caught it and either carried it over or rolled it over into the budget, but we missed it at this point.
Okay.
So that's why we're asking to have it roll over.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Is this something that is reimbursable from SB CAG funds?
It's, it's a very good question. It is open to use transit funds for. It's not a general fund expenditure. So that's reimbursed through we have a,
Reserve.
yeah, we have a reserve of over $1 million, and it's going to be drawn from that. So it is for, the transit funds that are from the federal and state.
Okay.
come in.
So this isn't, just wanted to clarify, this is not coming from general funds?
That is correct.
Okay. Make sure everybody heard that.
Yes.
It's important.
Yeah.
So are you good with?
Yeah,
leaving it
that
at
answers
Mike?
my question, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I particularly like that it's not coming from the general fund. Oh, it's okay then.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments related to that?
Then I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante,
Yes.
Councilmember Arona,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Uhrig.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Moving on to item 5, excuse me. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of item 5?
Peru Hispanic Heritage Celebration Special Event Application.
Okay, I believe we have Adriana here from People Helping People, but this is an event that's requested for October 7th. It will take place at the Solvang Park as a festival. There will be some live music. I'm sure Adriana will give you a lot more information. It's from 3 to 8:30, and estimated number of attendees is 100 to 200.
Yes, so my name is Adriana Reyes, and I'm representing Inclusion People Helping People. And thank you for the People Helping People 30th invite for our open house. We've been working hard. It's been 30 years, so
Yeah.
cleaning out the rooms and everything. But we'd love to see you guys all there. But yes, I'm here in response to celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm born and raised here. My father came up in 1963. He was a Danish baker for 40 years. My mother cleaned houses as well as ended up being the Bethania assistant to childcare. So we are the backbone of this community, and we'd like to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in Solvang. And the reason we selected Solvang last year and this year is because any Hispanic population that you have, we all conjugate against a gazebo and a plaza. So that's where community always comes to for celebration, for everything. So being that Solvang is an immigrant town, we would like to celebrate. And by doing that, we have live music. We've collaborated with the Ola Club from the high school, the teachers, the Spanish teachers, as well as Allen Hancock College. So we'll have live music, ballet folklorico, mariachi, banda, and we will have food, Rudy's taco truck, as well as Sano Pecado with aguas frescas. So it should be a very good event. The reason it's on a Friday is because our community works. So if we had it on Saturday or Sunday, the majority of our community would be working. So we'd like to celebrate from 4 to 8, and I'm here to ask for your approval. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions? I just had one, and I just wanted to make sure. Normally, the events that we have at the park end at 8 o'clock, only to not conflict with any of the Theater Fest stuff that goes on. So I don't know if that's going on that far into October. Do we know when, or do you know, Adriana?
No, I put down 8:30 in the application because it said start time and end time. So 8:30 would be pickup.
Right,
The music will end at 8.
at 8? Okay. That was the only concern that I had, just making sure.
I don't see anything.
The theater season for PCPA ends this weekend. This is their
Is it this
last.
weekend?
Yeah, this is their last show.
I think so.
Okay.
Good call to think about that, Mr. Mayor, though.
Yeah.
Well, I was the one that used to have to go out on the loud music and/or trying to shut them down. So I just try to hit that before they happen, try to anticipate that. So anyway, do we have a vote on this? If there's any other discussion, I'll take it out to public comment, at least at this time. And is there anyone, I don't have any speaker slips on this. Is there anyone in the public wishing to make any comments related to this item? Seeing none in-house, move it out to Zoom. If there's anyone in Zoom. Seeing none in Zoom, bring it back for final discussion and/or motion.
Let me just comment that I've never seen the park as lively as when last year during Hispanic Heritage Month, the last banda went up to play, and I saw all these young people wearing their finest boots coming in and having a wonderful time. This is a great event that celebrates, honestly, as Ms. Adriana said, the backbone of our community. Just because we are a Danish town doesn't mean that we are not represented by people from all backgrounds. And with that, I would love to make a motion to approve this event.
I'll second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante,
Yes.
Councilmember Arona,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Uhrig,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And I just had one question. I have the application for our license. Can I have signatures tonight?
ABC license?
Yes.
The law enforcement one, you'll have to,
Paranoid.
Yes, law enforcement, I'll do that tomorrow as well.
he
but-
may end up being in Buellton, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Since we're short on time, I know that there's been, a conflict the last time.
Actually, I think we're just about right, because you can't get a signature prior 30 days. You can't wait,
Right.
or can't get it too early. You have to get it within 30 days of the event.
Yeah.
We're just there.
But we'd love to see you all there. There's going to be great music and lots of food. Thank you so much.
It's tempting.
All right, moving on to item number 6. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title?
Appoint one committee member to fill vacancies on the Tourism Advisory Committee.
So this item is here because of the vacancy on the Tourism Advisory Committee appointed. We have 2 vacancies, but I believe one is ready for appointment today if Councilmember Clark would like to do so.
Yes.
So you can just introduce your individual and appoint them if you would like.
Okay. The person that I've appointed, I've gotten to know, has a marketing agency in town, and I always have a hard time pronouncing Christina's last name. It's Chacho. She has a bridal store in Santa Ynez. She's been a business owner for a long, long time. She used to make, she's a baker. She had a business that made cupcakes for Whole Foods up and down the state. She's been in the Valley for a few years, and as I say, she's got a bridal store in Santa Ynez. She understands business. She's got a marketing agency and does websites and business promotions. And I think that she would be a good fit with all of her attributes, to be a good fit with the Tourism Advisory.
Excellent.
Does that require a second?
No, I believe the way that we had phrased it, it's just one council
Yes.
member's appointment.
Yeah,
She's appointed, and we're done.
that's it.
We don't open it up for discussion or anything?
Do we have public comment for that? Even though it's not an entire, it shows that we do, but it's an agenda item. Is there any public comment at this time for in-house? I don't have any speaker slips, so if anyone in-house wishes to make a comment, please do so now. Come on up. Seeing none, we'll take it back out to Zoom. Anyone in Zoom wishing to make a comment on this appointment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. Final, you, now, you
Make a
made it.
motion?
No, just, you've already made it.
Okay.
There is no motion required on this.
Correct.
All right. Now, moving on to item number 7. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of item number 7?
Receive a report on Downtown Plaza Concept Survey results.
Okay, so this item is in front of you as an informational item only. There's no action on it. And it's really to allow the community to continue to have opportunity to comment on this concept and also update you on the results of the workshop that we held for the Downtown Plaza concept. So this is being wrapped into, or is part of the general plan update overall. And if we can have the slide up. So if you would remember, we've been working on the general plan update since December of 2020. We are currently in the stage 4, which is preparing the plan. We are almost completed with that stage. At that point, we'll be moving into environmental review and then adoption towards 2023. But the way this conversation is really being framed is that the Downtown Plaza would be considered as a potential program and would be included in the community design element. So community design element is currently being reviewed by the GPAC, and then we'll be going to design review committee and then followed by planning commission and the city council. So the decision at that point would be for everyone to decide whether one of such a project should be included in the community design element as a program, which eventually would lead to city staff working with the community and the city council on moving forward with such a project. So in order to receive feedback from the community as to whether or not there was interest in creation of of such a project and continue this community conversation, we had held a workshop on July 18th that was set up in the Solvang Park, which was fairly well attended. There was approximately 28 people that checked in. Majority of them were from Solvang, and one was from Santa Ynez. Several people did not identify themselves by choice, and so we approximate that there was about 35 participants. Participants were given an opportunity to review the 6th Street closure options, as well as offer up hybrids. There was technical information related to the temporary closure presented as well, based on the closure during the pandemic of Copenhagen Drive. So there were traffic counts while it was closed and also traffic counts while it was open. That technical information is included in your packet. Here's some photographs from the event when it took place. And followed the event, there was a survey that was available online that kind of looked like this when you first came into the portal to collect the data. So this is the number of participants that had taken advantage of this survey. So there was 380 unique users that entered this site. Total visits was over 1,100. Average time spent was 2.5 minutes, and then only 48 people left comments and filled out the survey results. So this is the demographics of who came into the site. There's 35% of business owners, 58 were residents, and only 6% were visitors. So based on feedback, this was the preferred version of all of the 6, and it's important to note that the 6 versions for the closure were just really rough drafts. They were not the final proposed project. Once again, this would be a concept as a consideration to be included in the general plan update, and then move forward with developing a project if that is desired. So the one option that was chosen as preferred alternative was option 4, where 46% of respondents identified this as the best approach, which was actually the entire closure of Copenhagen from Atterdag to Alisal. And so some of the responses, these are just examples. You have the entire responses in your packets, but I think these are well indicative comments, pro and against. So the first comment is option 4 will work well. The closure goes to create a European feel, which requires a significant closure on the main streets. The other options do not meet the criteria for overall success for the city of Solvang. The other comment is option 4 is the best of the 6. If Copenhagen from Alisal to parking lot 2 was an option, that would be my first choice. I believe a plaza pedestrian mall should be in areas that have shops, restaurants, tasting rooms on both sides of the street. This greatly enhances the experience benefit provided by a plaza. And then on the con side, there was a couple of comments to stop pushing the idea, use the money elsewhere, like fixing infrastructure, water and sewer, and I like Solvang the way it is. So this is just information for the City Council today, and also opportunity for the public to come in and comment on this if they wanted to right now. But it will be coming back to you in the form of the general plan update draft at first. You will be having a workshop on the draft version, and then we will be coming back to you based on any impact or any input with a final version for your approval in spring of 2023. Thank you.
Sorry. Are there any questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
On the last screen that you showed, it was you had the pros and the cons. On the con, and I apologize that I was not at these meetings. I work a lot of hours at my day job, but was a lot of that, is that $3 million amount still being bandied about in the meeting about it's either nothing or it's going to cost $3 million to make this pedestrian friendly? Is that where some of this anti is coming from?
At this point, we don't have a number in mind, and there's also no real project in mind. Like I said, it's just a program to be included in the community design element. That means, as a policy, you would be stating that, yes, the city wants to continue to look into such a program and continue to develop concept.
I just remember during the arguments against keeping it closed, that was one of the dollar amounts that was getting thrown about, that it's either open it up or spend $3 million. I'm like, well, no, I think we can do something in between, so I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
That was a number that did get thrown out, but
I have a feeling.
yeah.
Question I have is Who came up with these options?
So the options came from our consultant, DKS, and also Roger and myself were working with them.
In the interest of transparency, because I did see that was one of the comments, in the interest of transparency, how come the closure that we just experienced, either version, because we did two, going from Alisal the second and/or Alisal to the parking lot two, why were those not an option? I know that was a couple of the comments that were in there.
And there were other streets as well. I mean, there's other parts around there that weren't given as an option. I'm confused.
Yeah.
So
Maybe just put out there that at this point, and because I did kind of want to make that comment, that none of these ideas were ideas that were proffered by our city council. This was either staff and/or consultants, and none of these ideas were that are presented are some ideas from city council.
And I'm going to go back to Councilman Clark's comment that what we didn't put in any of these is what it would cost to do any one of them. Ignoring the 3 million, they're all different prices, I'm sure.
Right now.
But it's, if you want this, do you think the city should spend $3 million for it? I think that would change a lot of opinions. I'm concerned. Don't know.
I think it would take a lot of money to be able to
This also
try to
has to
figure
go
all
hand
that
in
out.
hand with the parking issues.
Yeah.
You know, the one that got the most support is a loss of 89 parking spaces. And, you know, cuts off the lot
Yeah.
by the winery there anyway. So it's going to be a pretty interesting project for you folks to hang out.
He's going to bail.
There's a lame dunk comment for you.
Anyway, is there any other public comment on this particular item? I don't have any speaker slips on this right now, and we won't be entertaining any motion, but I don't see any speaker slips, and no one in-house is wanting to make any comments, so I'll take it out to Zoom. And I see one thumb up. Sheila Benedict.
I've been to a lot of countries in Europe, as well, as most of you well know, and I spend a great deal of time in Ireland, and there's an awful lot of streets like that in many of the cities that I go to. But one of the things that they have, and I'm not pro or con on this, but one of the things that they have is they don't rely upon parking. People don't drive there. There are buses that bring people in like crazy, and people are walking or buses are bringing them in. So taking away from parking is not an option for them because it's not necessary. I personally like the idea of it, but it all depends upon where it's being done, and it may not be good for us, it may be good for us. Like I said, I'm not pro or con on it. I'm just trying to tell you that with all my European travels, I've never been in a city that has a street like this where there's a lot of car parking needed to bring the people there. That's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So bringing it back from Zoom public comment. Any final comments from council?
I would
Go ahead.
just to dovetail on that. My wife was born and raised in Poland and moved here after college, but her parents are in their 70s and 80s now and have never had a driver's license because of what Sheila just said. They live in a town that's quaint and it's got the central thing, and it's just, I mean, this country changed after World War II, the way we set up cities. And if you've ever been to a planning commission meeting or conference, they talk a lot about that, how cities are laid out in this country and what an awful job we did about it, or how we did it. But that's a whole different subject. But Sheila makes a good point.
Any other comments? So there's no motion needed on this.
No, informational.
Just go forward. And moving on to item number 9, AB 1234 reports.
8?
Is it 8? My page says 9, sorry.
And then we never get it in the agenda packet. But yeah, it's on the agenda.
It is 8.
Right at the top page. You're up, Mr. Clark.
You wanna
Says
go
9.
first?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an 8? Okay.
Spent 2 days at, 2.5 days at the League of California Cities meeting. I think this has been my 4th or 5th one between JPIA and the League of California Cities. The best part about these is getting to see other council members and talking about issues facing their cities. The one thing I did notice that I think this has gone from rather micro, which is what I think city councils should be, is micro managers as far as services and basics. And I think this LOCC is getting away from this. And you look at the seminars, there was about 20 that were some groups empowerment, civic debate, rejecting personal attacks, creating at youth-friendly cities, creating more equitable and resilient communities, this caucus, that caucus, rethinking public safety, ending poverty in California, climate action plans, making equity stick,
It went on and on.
creative solutions for homelessness, transgender healthcare, and bias-free technologies. I'm like, huh? What does that do for services? What I want to learn something that I can bring back to my city and fix things that are happening in my town instead of fixing what's happening around the world. I get it, it's important stuff, but I'm just seeing a change. There was the one ad hoc, there was the conservative council member caucus, myself and one other guy, we had a good time. But besides that, that was it. And then
Beer
there
makes
was
things
one
better.
meeting that drew some interest, was fixing Prop 47. Because folks, Prop 47 is ruining California. When they're making the aggregate, or when they're making the misdemeanor up to $950, people are running into stores and stealing $900, $900, $900, and it's not an aggregate. So I was happy to see them at least addressing that. And there was maybe 150 people in there, and there were some applause after people got up and shared their anecdotes. So I was happy to see some of that. But they're always good meetings just because the interaction you have with other council members and talking to other council members who have issues in their cities that are similar to yours are very, very, very important. And that was my biggest concern. We talked about it with COVID and the first couple of years not going to those meetings and having that interaction is detrimental, I think, to a council member. These are really important, but I think they're getting off track. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
My turn?
Yes.
Your turn.
Unlike Mr. Clark, I had some tremendously great sessions. That one that you referred to about safety talked about, because we had talked about the thing about encroachment permits, and they talked about what it took to safely put what do you call those little things we had out in the street, pagodas or something, pavilion. What's the name of those things? Parklets, thank you. Good minds going. How to safely put a parklet out there, and there was 3 or 4 people addressing it, and one of them was the previous mayor of Artesia, and he told the story about his mother-in-law and 3 kids standing out in front of a restaurant waiting to get in, and somebody in the parking lot in the handicap put it in drive instead of reverse, killed his mother-in-law and put his 3 kids in the hospital. The safety factor of putting cars next to where people are is pretty critical. And they talked about a lot of things. I learned a lot in that one. I thought would be very useful if we ever get around to doing something like that with encroachment permits. I also went to the one on taxes and everything else and how to pass taxes, and there was a lot of legalese stuff. But that was where the idea of a YouTube video came out. Hey, get out in front of everybody and explain the thing in plain, simple words between you and the residents. I thought that was wonderful. The presentation by, I'm going to lose another name here again, the lady who ran the gold medal women's soccer team.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? Mm-hmm. That was the most enlightening, encouraging presentation, but she talked about how to make people do the job better. And I was
When they were already good.
when they were already
Yeah,
great.
that was a great speech.
That was a great speech. So the safety, the taxations, how you get the taxations across. I'm missing a couple here, I'm sure. But I have to say that, the other thing, to go back to Councilman Clark's, is to talk to people around there. So I talked to Alice Paterno, who's the mayor of Santa Maria. She was there. Holly Sierra was there. Janelle Osborne was there. And so we all sat and talked, and we're going to get, being that I'm likely to become the next mayor, we are going to get, well, it's outside chance, I don't know. But we're likely to get together and talk about these things, what we can do to help each other. That was wonderful. I learned a lot from them.
When Dave King and John Sanchez.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, Buellton won that award, the Helen Putnam Award. And so there was a whole bunch of Buellton folks there, John Sanchez and their city manager and everything. And we all chatted. It was to me, an extremely useful couple of days. So I wasn't quite as put off as Councilman Clark about some of them. There's a lot of things I just didn't want to attend. I didn't care about
You can't see
a
all.
lot of, there's too many of them to attend anyway. But I got a lot out of that, and made some very good contacts. So,
Cool.
thank you.
Sounds good. Is there any other final comments from you two? I know I don't have any. Is there any others? With that, we can adjourn the meeting at, 7:36?
Oh, my God.
I think so. 7:36. I have to hit that harder.